Criminals, black hats, outlaws, offenders, felons, and the dreaded wrongdoers. The gaming world is filled with some of the most vile and loathsome individuals that we will ever meet. From the smallest underlings to the biggest baddies, they scour our digital landscape. But if you don't know already, we're talking about our favorite villains in gaming, and you're listening to the Sonuvageek Podcast.
Son of a geek!
I'm your glorious host, Spencer, and this is my not-so-glorious, but still glorious in his own way, co-host who's only here because his significant other couldn't find a proper babysitter. It's CO!
Hi?
How's it going, CO?
Am I the one who needs to have a babysitter? Is that what that was?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure.
No, you don't need... Well, you're only here because your significant other couldn't find a proper baby... Wait.
Right.
I guess I could go either way.
Does that make... does that make you my babysitter?
That was the intention.
Oh, okay. What's going on, Sped?
Oh, it's going great. It's so weird to be just two of us again.
I know. It's like the good old days that weren't so good.
The good old days. Now Toll's going to listen to that and be like, oh, sons of bitches.
Yeah.
That's okay. He'll get over it.
Yeah. That's what he gets for not being here.
Yeah, him and moving. Oh, man, I was so excited. I was going to say that one for you. And then the next insult, it's not going to be the same since he's not here anymore. But I was going to say something. I don't have it written on here anymore. I deleted it. But it was along the lines of that... It was the ones here because significant other couldn't find a babysitter, and the other one has been what do you guys? Yeah, ran out of his own state and has been forced to move across country as part of it. It was pretty good. Basically, I was just saying that people hated him and they forced him to get out of there.
It sounds amazing, Spen.
It doesn't really. Not the way That's okay. It's been. I guess I could have just hit Control Z until it popped back up.
Yeah, I mean, it was a wild ride for me listening to that. It was just there was a lot of ups and downs, and
I appreciate it.
Of course.
This is a topic I was having a hard time figuring out what we should talk about for this podcast, and this one just kind of. I saw an article about some guy talking about one of the Borderlands characters, and I was just like, wait a minute, evil villains! There we go, done. Let's talk about that.
Handsome Jack.
That's an easy one. It won't take Zio very long to prepare right before we go to record the podcast for this one.
Well, I mean, when you only give me less than an hour of preparation.
Okay, hold on a sec. Okay. I'm gonna jump over here to the timestamp. All right,
because are you actually looking up the timestamp?
Yeah, hold on. This is very important here.
Okay. Right.
It is currently 1:30 in the afternoon for me.
Right.
Okay. So at about just after 7:30 in the morning. So that's like what, 6 hours?
Okay, but look at my response. Mine was 3 hours after that. So maybe 3 hours of prep time.
What time? And I didn't even see that when I didn't respond to it.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'll get over it.
Yeah, I'll get over it too.
So do you have any favorite villains that pop to mind? Even if it's just from a specific game that you love the villains from?
Yeah, I mean, there's always those villains that kind of stick out to you personally, and I have a few of my own. Yeah, I definitely have a few, and what's interesting is one of mine, I gotta say, is probably the main character.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then one I can't say because it would be a spoiler for you.
Oh no!
Because somebody needs to play The Last of Us.
We were gonna get it going too, but
I'm working on it still.
Video thing we're still working on it.
Yeah,
I should just sit down and play it.
You should. You really should.
But I blame YouTube because I keep spending all my time trying to do stuff with that.
I want to blame YouTube for everything as well. So
I should just do a playthrough of it on my channel, and then it'll be done in no time.
There you go. And, you'll release it in increments.
Yeah, well, I release all of my videos come out in increments. So,
no, I only release them as one whole, and then people never see them because I don't release them.
Well, it's understandable. They only see the outside parts of it. Yeah,
I don't know. I get in this funk. I record a lot. Like, I have a lot of backlogged recordings, and I'm just like, I don't think this is good enough anymore. And then I don't release it.
Well, it's a tough thing sometimes because you put in so much time and so much effort into it, and then there's moments where you're like, oh man, this is so good, and you put it out there, and you just it's really hard to feel like it's worth it.
Yeah,
like the time and energy that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
mean, every once in a while I feel like that, and I've got a playlist of some of my older videos that I absolutely love that I just go back and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is why I'm doing this.
I should do that. I really should. It's been a while since I've even looked at my own videos.
It helps boost your self-esteem, and it kind of builds up a bit of an ego, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hot diggity dog, I'm good.
So, favorite video game villains, though. Okay.
Yeah. And when I say villain, I guess villain kind of can be to different degrees depending on the person and their experiences with it, where someone may find a very minor character to be a villain due to circumstances, whereas I may find that character not to be.
Yeah, like for me, the bloodletting beast was like the biggest villain of all for Bloodborne, but maybe not for someone else.
Yeah, see, I've never played that game. I couldn't tell you.
Such a great game.
Well, I keep hearing that, and it looks so good. It's so big of a game, and there's so much stuff going on.
It's not that big.
Oh, I don't know. Those kinds of games scare me.
Yeah.
Because I tried, granted, I didn't try very hard, but I tried to play Dark Souls. I just couldn't do it. I think the playstyles are very different too, because I'm not the biggest fan of Dark Souls. Like I can appreciate the series from what I played of them and everything. But I love Bloodborne a lot more because of the pacing and how the mechanics play out. Mm-hmm.
Bloodborne's a lot more faster paced than Dark Souls is.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll take a look at it. So I know with Dark Souls, I think if I picked up the game and I played it for the first time without actually knowing what it was, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more and continued to play it a bunch.
Oh, okay.
But because I knew and I'd heard so much about it being like a really difficult game and it being really hard, that I generally kind of avoid those types of games to begin with. Like, I don't mind challenge. I like challenge and I like things being difficult, but I like it to feel, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Well, just think about it this way. It's not on the level of XCOM difficult.
See, that's... Oh, God, I love XCOM. I think that's different for me because XCOM...
Well, you could choose the difficulty level in XCOM, can't you?
Well, you can. I think the big thing with XCOM, though, is if I didn't get to customize the characters, then I wouldn't like the game as much as I do. But because I get to spend the time and make all of my friends and other people that I know and have them fight the alien menace and kind of... it's like... This is going to sound stupid. There's a couple of people that I haven't really talked to in a very long time, but I feel really close to them because they did so well in XCOM.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
They were the ones, because usually you start at the beginning of the game and you make all of like your really close friends and all the people you really enjoy, and then they start dying off and you're like, oh well, great, I can't just make Kevin the third or something like that. So I start like going. The only times I ever go on Facebook is I open up my friends list and I start scrolling through. I'm like, okay, I can add you. I haven't added you yet.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
It's awesome. God, it's such a good game.
So villains, we're talking about villains, guys.
Well, I'm excited to talk about a villain here, so I'm just gonna jump in while you scour the internet looking for villains.
Well, I have villains in mind. I'm just trying to think of like
you a hard time,
what level. I am scouring. I'm not lying. I am doing that, but I'm also just trying to think of like ones that personally affect me more. And I think I got one, but you can go first.
All right, well, I'm going to go to the Mass Effect trilogy.
Of course.
And I'm going to go to the very first Mass Effect.
Okay.
And I believe his name was Saren.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. He's going to be one of my favorite villains of anything.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Of games, because Mass Effect, it came out a long time ago, and it was one of the first. It's hard to say it's one of the first games to do what it did, but it's one of the first games to do what it did so well. And it was to create this awesome, expansive space exploration story where you got to you felt like you were part of this massive world and these crazy stories and all these antics that were happening. Okay. And here's a guy that comes along in the game and you don't really know he's a villain right away. He's supposed to be this like, I mean, you kind of do, but he's supposed to be this top dog, like this super amazing guy that goes around and protects the galaxy. And then slowly but surely you find out more and more about all these terrible things he's done, and how for the entire first game he's always one step ahead of you, and you're always just fighting to get to him. And he's one of the guys where when I go through and I look up Mass Effect screenshots and pictures, and whenever I see him in there, there's a part of me that's just like, you bastard. And it's just yeah, he's one of my favorite villains.
So he pretends to be good, but really does a bunch of shitty things behind the scenes. And
well, I don't even know if I don't know. He doesn't even really pretend to be good. He just does what he wants, and people just assume he is because of his position. You've played Mass Effect, haven't you?
Briefly, not a lot.
Oh, that's right. You haven't. I'm talking about this as if you know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's fine.
There's this galactic. I'll give a brief summary. There's this. Okay. We'll call it a galactic order. This government type business that sits in place. Right. Underneath this government, there are a very few select individuals. I think it's like 3 or 4 guys, and they are known as, I don't remember what their title is, but basically these are the coolest, the most badass, the best guys of all of the soldiers, or warriors. They have like the highest clearance of anything they can go. They're always there. If there's any catastrophic events, these guys are the ones that they expect to be there to deal with things and to make the galaxy a better place. Okay. And you're slowly working your way up to it, and you see there's this one guy who is who's in this position, but he's just always doing these terrible things, and nobody knows it though. And you're trying to basically see, like, look guys, he's terrible, and the whole government's like, get out of here. And you spend the whole game fighting for that, and just trying to stop this villain who's kind of like paraded around like a galactic war hero.
So is he the main antagonist of the first game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, he is the main guy. So I forgot you haven't really played through Mass Effect.
Yeah, I always actually kind of like those stories where the story seems like, well, this guy seems to be the hero, and then come to find out he's a villain. I mean, it's a trope, or cliche, I should say, used a lot in a bunch of stories, but I've always enjoyed that type of story. If done well, it can be really impactful. You know, this one guy you kind of grow with, like almost like an Uncharted 4, I want to say. I always thought Drake's brother was actually going to be really bad. Like, I thought he was going to be the antagonist.
Oh, that threw me off so much. I knew something wasn't right. But when I found it was just like, what? No, because he was like, I mean, obviously he turned back and stuff towards the end and everything. But I'm saying, like, I thought he was going to be the main antagonist at the end, because you play this entire game with Drake and his brother, and you build this relationship, and to see that happen at the very end, I think it would have been very impactful. Not saying what they did was bad. I thought what they did was fantastic. Oh yeah. But that's kind of thought, you know, I've always like wanted to write a script personally where these two people kind of grow together, and like this one guy's super good and everything. They do it often. They did in Captain Marvel and everything, and Iron Man. Just kidding.
Yeah, but yeah, basically that. So I like that storyline, and I hope to do it well one day. Let me talk about one villain that probably made the biggest impact on me, I would say. So Infamous, I've talked about it multiple times in the past.
Ooh, nice, yeah.
One of my favorite games.
Yeah, this is another good one.
Yeah, you play Cole McGrath, and you get these electricity powers, and you can choose to be good or evil. But there's this antagonist throughout the entire game. His name is Kessler, and he's the guy who kind of eggs you on, and he puts you in these terrible positions, and he makes you make terrible decisions, and all to find out that he's doing that just to essentially turn you into a hero, because he is you from the future, and he failed to be a hero.
That's so cool.
So he goes back to the past to be your villain, so you can make better decisions to save the world. I just thought it was a really cool storyline, very fascinating. And then they did very similar thing for BioShock Infinite too, which is funny. I really enjoyed both of those games.
Well, I haven't played the BioShock series, but I've heard about what they did with that one, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they did it first in Infamous. You said Kessler turns out to be you. You get the revelation, and then you got to fight yourself essentially at the end. It was just a great game. Like, I thought Infamous 1's story was phenomenal. It was very engaging. It made me super hyped for Infamous 2. I think Infamous 2's gameplay is better, but the story probably isn't as strong as Infamous 1. But overall, like, Kessler, he's just a fantastic villain. I think he was a wonderful villain. But on a similar note, for Infamous Second Son, I don't think
they did the same thing.
No. I don't. The main villain's like the I don't know, like the president of like the security for all the superhumans and stuff. But the villain is like, you can choose to be a good or bad guy. And I actually think the bad storyline for Delsin is better than the good storyline. And I think the ending of that turns Delsin into a villain. And I think it's one of the best storylines for Infamous Second Son. So it's pretty awesome. You kind of flip the genre on its head a little bit with that storyline. You know, you try to be this good guy, and then you just turn out to be a complete asshole. And
that's awesome.
I would have loved to see another Infamous game where Cole would have come back to fight Delsin, I think.
Interesting.
That would have been an awesome game.
So in Second Son, the guy that you were in the first game, did you see him at all in it?
No, so Cole dies in Infamous 2.
Oh, great. You just ruined the whole franchise for me. Oh, this is worse.
Yeah. So I think it would have been it. But I mean, at the end of Infamous 2,
well, how did he travel back in time in the first one again?
So for the first one, how it works is Cole gets his powers, some weird shit starts to happen, and instead of Cole stepping up to try to be a beacon of hope for the people, he takes his girlfriend Trish and the kid they have, and they run away. And turns out they end up dying anyways because the world went to shit because he didn't step up to be a hero. So he creates a time machine, goes back in time to groom himself into becoming a hero. That way the world doesn't end.
Oh, okay, cool. No, that makes sense then.
But yeah.
How does that work, though? If you go back in time and you change the past so that you don't become evil and you don't build a time machine, you don't go back, then does that even actually happen?
Well, that depends on, like, if you go back in time, if that creates, like, an alternate timeline or an alternate universe, essentially. You know, are you really affecting your own time at that point? Are you affecting someone else's timeline? There's a bunch of theories involving time. And
see, I think that there is only one timeline. There's only one timeline. There's no alternate realities. If you go back in time, those events have already happened. So you can't change. You can make it feel like you're changing things, but you're not actually changing things because that's already happened.
See, that's funny. I love time travel and theories and things like that. Like, it's one of my favorite things to talk about. That's my exact theory too. I believe that it is impossible to change the past, that you going to the past was almost like predestination. So like it's already happened. So
exactly.
Like you going to the past is what caused the accident. So like the best way I explain it to people is like, you and I are walking down the street. I get hit in the back head with a rock. It knocks me out for 5 years. I wake up, I want to get those 5 years back. I build a time machine. I go back in time to prevent myself from getting knocked out. Events happen. I can't make it to myself right away. I find this rock. I throw it to get my attention. Turns out I'm the one who caused my concussion.
You were the villain the whole time.
The villain the whole time. And way to bring it back circle to the conversation. But it's funny. We have the exact same theory on time.
I'm glad about that. Time travel is really cool, and I love shows that do it. And
me too.
One of my favorites, Steins Gate.
Yeah, Steins Gate is an amazing anime.
So good. That's what got me into the whole time travel stuff, and it was really? It's just the idea of it is really cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's for a whole other podcast. I'm gonna write that down. Time
travel. Yes, let's talk about time travel. If you guys want to talk about time travel, we will.
The funny thing is, we already have. Because I don't know. We'll work a time joke into it.
Yeah. Go ahead and just edit that in, Spen. So, other villains. Do you have another villain that may have stuck out to you for any other reason?
Well, I have a few villains, and I chose some honorable mentions as well to talk about after.
Okay.
Which I thought would be ones where I would like to choose them as a villain, but I don't consider them good enough to be on like the favorite villains list.
Okay.
But before we get to those, though, this is a villain that I have encountered time and time again, and I'm also currently encountering him again. Not right now as we speak, because then I wouldn't be focusing on the podcast. But
right. Mm-hmm.
This is Mr. Ganon.
Oh, Ganon from like the Legend of Zelda series.
Oh, yeah. I would consider him one of my favorite villains. And partially because I've encountered him so many different times in so many different forms, and I've loved it every time.
Now, is technically Ganon like the same villain in every game, or is he different? Because he's had, like you said, he has so many different forms.
Well, it's kind of like how, I mean, Link and Zelda aren't the same every time. It's they're kind of like reincarnations of the stuff.
Which Ganon's your favorite then?
I don't know. If I had to pick one off the top of my head, I would choose the one from Wind Waker.
Okay.
That Ganon, off the top of my head, is my favorite. That's just also because how much I love Wind Waker's art style.
Okay.
And I think he looked really cool, and he had a very unique look in that one. That wasn't like monstrous and
right
than anything like that. But I think I would go with Wind Waker. But in general, anytime there's a Ganon that I can fight.
So Ganon mostly because of like your gaming experiences.
Yeah, I think that's one way you could put it.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. He's always been partially probably because he's been a reoccurring villain in one of my favorite franchises.
All right.
And every time you fight him, it's always something different. There's different mechanics to use against him and different ways you fight against him. But it's always, he's also that villain or that evil guy that's just, his goal is destruction. You know, he does, for the most part, I don't think he ever wants to really rule over things. I mean, he wants to be the king, but it's just everything about him is just destroying what's in his way and stopping it.
Some people just want to see the world burn.
Yeah, that's what Ganon wants.
Yeah.
He's for sure one of mine.
Sounds a lot like Sephiroth.
Oh, I was waiting for that name.
I know, everyone always expects it. Honestly, like, in reality, I think Sephiroth's awesome, but not like the greatest villain ever. Like, his story's interesting and everything. He's a good villain. I fighting wise in the game, I think he's a lot of fun because you have to fight him 3 times at the very end.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, you get these different forms of him, and it's fascinating. And what's cool about Final Fantasy VII, the end game fight with him, like, the first fight is different for other people. So, like, you can... Like, the first time I ever played the game, it was just my main party fights him. Mm-hmm. But then the second and third time I ever played, I had 2 parties. So, like, they split your entire group into 2 separate parties, and you fight him from both those parties. It jumps back and forth.
Oh, that's awesome.
But that doesn't always happen. And honestly, I've never done the research to figure out how you trigger that or not. Because like I said, the first time I did it never happened. The second time, the third time I did it, it did happen. The time after that, it didn't happen. Like, I have multiple occasions where it happens and it doesn't.
Interesting.
I even think there's a way to get 3 parties to fight them. I just personally never had that experience. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
So it's kind of cool.
Because I've recently started playing Final Fantasy VII, and the very first boss of the game splits you into 2 parties. You've got I forget. I don't know their characters' names. I think so. It's that robot thing.
Oh, you're talking about the red robot that splits you between like Tifa on one side and then Cloud and Barret on the other.
No, I had Cloud on one side and Tifa and Barret on the other.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Is that what you mean by the 2 parties?
No, they're like it's like 2 separate fights. So like you have a fight that goes on here, you do some stuff, and then it's like, let's check on party number 2, and then it like switches to a different angle, and then they're fighting and doing and then it's like, let's check on party number 1.
Oh, it's so awesome.
And it jumps back and forth. It's really weird, but it's kind of cool. Sephiroth's a great villain. I think he's even better in Crisis Core though than Final Fantasy VII. So like the prequel with Zack, just because they give more time to build him. in 7, he has his story arc and everything, and obviously they flesh him out a bit. But in Crisis Core, it feels more personal, I guess. Because you don't play like a party of people. You play Zack. It's one person. And Zack's so heavily interconnected into like Angeal and Sephiroth and stuff. But one villain I do find that's fun in every Final Fantasy. What's his name?
Bahamut.
I looked it up just because I couldn't remember his name. It's not Bahamut.
Sid. All the times you kill Sid because he's the evil villain.
No, it starts with a G. Not Gibranth. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Sorry.
Is it one of the summons?
No, he's like this warrior and he travels between dimensions. Gilgamesh.
Interesting.
Gilgamesh.
Oh, Gilgamesh.
Okay, so Gilgamesh is in every Final Fantasy, and the theories are it's actually the same Gilgamesh. So like he travels dimensions and he fights you because you can't kill him. He's unkillable.
Oh.
They really.
How do you?
He beats you and then he leaves.
Oh.
But he's just this recurring villain. It's like one day I want to beat him. I hope one day I can just destroy him.
Well, I believe in you.
I'm sure there's probably a game where you can. I just haven't played all the Final Fantasies, so I don't know 100% if that's true or not.
Oh, I want to say it's not, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah, me too. But because I've never beaten him. So
I have a surprise for you, Zio.
What's that?
I've been playing through Final Fantasy VII, and I've been recording it as well because I am making it's going to be the greatest series that I've ever done on my channel.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's super heavily edited. It's great. I even renamed all the characters to their proper names.
Oh no.
It's going to be great. I'm excited for it.
That is the one thing I really hope they don't put in the remake. I don't want to rename the characters.
Yes, let me rename them. Although the remake's only coming out on PS4. And they have no plans of putting it on PC.
That's interesting because when they first announced it, it said coming out on PS4 first. But yeah, I guess it's going to be just a straight exclusive, which is interesting.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I'm surprised,
now
honestly.
Who's the real villain?
Square Enix.
Move aside, EA. There's a new villain in town.
I don't know if anybody can top EA. EA is really bad. That reminds me. I read this article. Best part.
Oh, is it about the
guy who's like, I don't know why we're so villainified. No. Did you see that?
Yeah, I actually pulled it up. Oh god, it was so good. It was something along the lines of like he struggles with the perception of why everyone sees them as the bad guy.
That makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah, maybe it's because you're the perfect villain then.
It's true. Like maybe if you just stop doing shitty things to the gaming community. Nobody will view you that way. Stop rushing developments on smaller developers. Stop buying developers and then closing them for no reason, you know?
Well, I mean, a lot of the times it's not for no reason. They'll like bring in staff members from it and kind of shift them into different projects. And
well, like, is that necessary? Just hire new staff members. You don't have to buy a whole development
if you
team.
have a lot of money and you're like, well, I have tons of money that's just weighing me down. I don't know what to do with it. Well, let's just buy them, see if we can do anything with it. If they can't, we'll just get rid of them. We have more money than we could ever do with anyways.
I know, but it's ridiculous, man. Like,
someday, Zio, that'll be us.
That'll be us.
Someday. We'll just have a new people hosting the podcast because we'll just buy them off of their YouTube channel.
We're just
have them go
EA?
and host a podcast and we'll just shut their channal down and get rid of them.
I don't know. It almost sounds like machinima.
Oh, it'll be great.
Channel.
It'll be fantastic.
How do we solve our problems? We eliminate the competition by buying them.
Do you have any other villains to bring up?
Yes.
I'm questioning.
I'm trying to think, like, yeah, I guess he's a villain technically. So I was always a fan of like the Tekken series. Did you ever play Tekken?
Oh, okay. Like twice.
You familiar with who Heihachi is? or Hayachi. I'm probably butchering the name.
I want to say it sounds familiar, but that just could be a racist comment.
So the main character, his name is Jin, all right, and then his grandpa name is Heihachi, and his grandpa owns like this this giant corporation, and every year he hosts the Iron King tournament.
Oh, okay, yes, I know who he is then.
Basically, yeah, he's just this evil grandpa and he's a dick. He's so funny though. Like, excuse me. While he's evil, they like as the series goes on, they kind of like end up becoming parodies of like their own character. And
okay.
He was always a guy I hated as a kid because, you know, as a kid, I get sucked into like, yeah, Jin, he's the best. Let's get him. Let's kill our grandpa. But then, like, as I got older, I just realized how ridiculous it is. But I don't know. He was always kind of a villain growing up for me because I played all the Tekkens growing up and I loved him.
No, that's fair. Because isn't that tournament like something that he would create just to try and find people that he could beat up?
Yeah. Partially, I think it was partially made to hunt down Jin too. I don't remember the story too much. It's been years.
What? Why would a grandfather want to hunt down his grandson and kill him?
Because he hates his son, and his son hates him.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense then.
Yeah, so like you play Jin, and then Kazuya is Jin's dad, and then Kazuya is Heihachi's son, and it's like a weird trinity of like hatred and everything.
Well, no, it's fair. If I had a son and I hated him and then he had a grandchild, I'd want to murder him.
Yeah, me too.
I'd want to remove all sources of my son off the face of the planet, starting with his grandson, because then that would make my son even more upset and angry with me, and then when I defeated him, it would be more satisfying.
You really thought this out against your son.
Just planning for the future. You never know when this could happen.
It's true. You could have a son at any point. Might as well get ready to hate him.
At any moment, just like, hello, father. I'm like, whoa, I did not see that coming.
Oh, shit. Let's get rid of him.
Who's the mother? Is she cute?
Do I know her? You got any other villains? I struggle to think of some. You know, it's weird. You always talk about like the heroes and protagonists. And I guess we could go to a top 10 list of villains, and I'm sure I've played against quite a few of them, but
that would be cheating. And remember how much flack we gave Toll last podcast for cheating?
I am trying
here on Geeks Actively Making Entertainment, we are all against cheating, and especially myself, Spencer, will like to make sure to point out that if you're a cheater, that's not cool.
Oh yeah,
and you shouldn't do that.
Yes,
it's against the rules, and it ruins the fun for everyone else.
Yes, Spen. It does. Unless it's a game designed to be cheated in, because then it's fun.
Yeah, like all of the maps that Toll made in...
yeah, just like that. Just like that.
Just like that. You know, I'm really happy to talk about this villain. You can almost say that I'm GLaDOS to be talking about GLaDOS.
Oh, Portal. Portal. I got the reference, Portal. I mean, GLaDOS is fun.
She's amazing. She's a fantastic villain because she's hilarious. Mm-hmm. She makes us want to beat her just because of how cocky and how kind of put down she is the whole time. And then when you finally get to the point, like she throws the perfect tantrums and fits where you're just like I have to defeat her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And GLaDOS is great. I loved Portal 2 specifically. I didn't get to play Portal 1 because it was on PC at the time. I don't know if they ever released it on a console.
I want to say they did. There was a thing with like Portal, Team Fortress 2, and Half-Life.
Oh, okay.
It was like a package for the Xbox 360.
Because I got Portal 2 for the PS3, and when I started to play it, I realized it was actually connected to a story. I was kind of hoping it would have been like not. So I ended up watching like a walkthrough of the first Portal. Okay. And so I got a good glimpse of the story, and then playing Portal 2 made it that much better. Naturally. Yeah.
Did you ever play the co-op part of it?
Yes, it's so much fun. I love the two little robot guys. Actually, so much so. Here's a little hint. Part of my love for filmmaking has always been stop motion. I've always been super fascinated by stop motion, and specifically growing up, I always played with Legos. So I fell in love with like Lego stop motion.
Oh, it's awesome.
I loved Portal so much. I have 2 custom minifigures of those 2 little robots because I was going to make a Portal stop motion series.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
And then you never did it.
Never did it. Just because stop motion's hard. It takes a lot of time.
You heard it here, folks. Zio stops doing things once they get hard.
No, I just never had time.
That's why he doesn't have any kids.
Yeah, because I killed him. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's because I started this tournament. I invited them to the tournament, and I destroyed them in the tournament. So I wouldn't have kids anymore. I would say ask the mom, but she doesn't exist anymore either.
Oh, wow. That's a little dark.
Well, right, you gotta destroy everything connected to my son.
Zio, this is supposed to be a children's program. You can't have those kinds of conversations.
I'm so sorry.
No, you better be.
Smiley, can you fact check, make sure this is a children's program? Because I'm pretty sure we've said other things that weren't so child friendly.
What? No, it's fine. It's fine.
But anyway, yeah, Portal's awesome. I love GLaDOS. You know, one day I'd like to at least do a mini-sode spoof where we turn Robin into GLaDOS in a way.
Oh, it'd be so awesome.
Robin being the villain, wouldn't that be amazing?
Pixel would have so much fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
It would be awesome.
It'd be hard to edit and figure out how we were going to do that.
It would be. But that would be such a great story. I think it'd be so much fun. Yeah. There's a lot of potential there. That's
our future editor's problem.
Yeah. After we buy them.
Zio. I mean,
it's probably me.
It's probably me.
It's probably me. GLaDOS. Okay, so not a great villain, I would say. And honestly, I didn't play a lot of them, and my view on his villainous isn't from video games. So like Dr. Robotnik from Sonic.
Oh, okay.
So I've only played a few Sonic games, mostly the early ones. But I always loved Dr. Robotnik because of the Sonic animated series, mostly. So I'm going to say he's one of my favorite villains from a video game, even though he became my favorite from the animated show.
It's a TV show based off of a video game.
Yeah.
The jury will let it slide.
Okay, cool. But in the animated series, it was awesome, mostly because he had like those 2 little henchmen. He had like this hedgehog henchman and this rooster henchman. They're both robots. But the trio of them was just hilarious and ridiculous. And if I watched it again as an adult, it'd probably be really bad. But
see, I don't think I watched that show. The one on the show I remember is the Kirby cartoon.
Kirby had a cartoon?
Kirby had a cartoon. I remember watching that one and not watching the Sonic one because I've never really been a huge fan of Sonic.
Okay. I loved Sonic all the way up until about Sonic Adventures 2, and then I just stopped caring.
That's fair.
Yeah. I did try to play a Sonic game probably some years ago, like when they released the collection on PlayStation, and I was so bad. I was like, wow, how did I play this as a kid? How was I better as a kid than I am as an adult? It was super weird.
Well, it's a lot different back then. Like, games then compared to now.
Yeah, they've changed so much.
Yeah. Now they've got tutorials, and they've got auto-aim for us, and they've got things that pop up on the screen and tell you where you need to go, and things are designed and built so that we can get through without having to put too much thinking. Like, I could never go back and play the games from before. Could you imagine if they made... Let's say they remade, or if Morrowind had never come out. Oh, you never played PC games?
No, I never.
So you've never played Morrowind?
Mm-mm. Is that an Elder Scrolls game?
Yeah, so Morrowind is an Elder Scrolls game, and I couldn't imagine if that came out today, where when you start up the game, there's no quests, instructions or anything. You've just got a little journal, and then every time you talk to an NPC and it gives you information, it puts it in your journal at that spot. So you could have a whole bunch of notes about a whole bunch of different things, but it's all just stacked on top of each other, like not in any special orders or anything. So you've got to pay attention to where you're going. There will be NPCs that reference specific towns, and then you've got to go and find the town. Or if you're looking for a mine, you've got to go out and like follow the directions on these signs that some guy gave you, where it's like, go right at this one and then turn towards this town, and then the third right, go there, and you'll find the cave you're looking for.
Yeah.
if a game like that came out today, I mean, there'd be a lot of people that I think would really enjoy it, but it wouldn't get the same kind of love
That's
that
true.
it got when it came out.
That's true. Nostalgia
Just 'cause
often
it's-
affects things like that. I mean,
Well,
even just going back
it's not
to,
as user friendly,
right.
is what I'm
But
going
like
for.
even with Final Fantasy VII, I mean, they didn't quite give you a huge tutorial, but like when reading their text when they talk, they would always highlight, your next point of interest in blue. And I guess if you didn't pay it too much attention, you'd just blow right by that. If you're the type of person who just pushed X, or I guess for Final Fantasy VII, circle a lot to get by the game, then yeah, you just wouldn't even notice. So yeah, I mean, I guess back then they didn't really give you a whole lot of tutorials of how to play. They just kind of let you play.
But I mean, even then, because I just recently started playing it, and they do have a tutorial kind of in it where it takes you through the basics of like fighting and combat. It doesn't hold your hand through it like a lot of tutorials do these days, but it still was like, oh man, this is how this happens. This is how you do that.
That's fair.
And so it still had that kind of stuff. But you
It
are right.
wasn't
It is possible you
completely
could
open.
skip through it.
Man.
So I don't know. I would say that the way they did the tutorials in Final Fantasy VII, I wish that's how they did them all the time.
Yeah.
Although if we were ever to talk about a game that had the coolest tutorial or way that it taught you how to play the game, this is getting a little off topic, but I don't remember which one it is, but it's one of the Mega Man games. It's a game where there is no tutorial in it, but you run around and you make different attacks and you can do different things. And the way you find out you can do stuff is how some of the moves is how enemies come back and fight against you. Like there's, like if you tap the button, you can shoot these little tiny little laser balls, but eventually you get to the end of the level and you go to fight like one of the bosses, and you watch as he shoots off a couple little things, and then he does the same motion, but he pauses for a moment, and then he does this charge attack to shoot the other thing, which is at that point you look at that, you're like, well, wait a minute, can I do that? And then you like hold the button, and it's just the way they taught you is just by showing you.
That's
and
cool.
Kind of experience things that way.
I gotta say, my favorite tutorial is probably in Portal 2. That little robot guy just talked at you and made fun of you when you didn't do what he was trying to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Just make a bunch of jokes. I thought that was pretty clever. Yeah, because
that-
at least
that
it
was
was
pretty
just
good.
interesting. Because if you wanted to go off and explore and do the things that the game isn't guiding you to do, then, they'll be like, hey, man, we're all just waiting on you. Let's just move forward.
Oh, that's awesome. That's another one. We're going to have to talk about tutorials for another podcast.
Yeah. That will have to be some actual research, because thinking of tutorials right offhand, I can't come up with a story like yours where it teaches you like
That's
that.
okay. Well, the only reason why I know about that is because I watched a YouTube video on it a long time ago.
Shadow of the Colossus doesn't give you a tutorial. It doesn't teach you really how to play.
Nope.
It just kind of throws you get this silent film of like, hey, you walk into this giant tower, you lay dead girl down, and then this thing's like, now go kill something.
But doesn't it? Isn't there like a first? I'm pretty sure there's a first boss that you go to fight. Like there is a starting one.
The tutorial boss, but it doesn't necessarily. I don't remember if it gives you tutorial or not. I don't think it tells you how to beat them. I think actually. Never mind. So if you take a while fighting, the gods in the sky will be like, hey, maybe you should, raise your sword in the sky. And I think that's kind of what it does.
Oh, okay.
But I don't remember.
Well, we'll save that for the tutorial podcast, 'cause there's a lot of stuff I'd love to talk about tutorials.
Yeah. Talking about villains.
Yeah. I've got another one to throw out here.
Yeah, okay. Go for it. I got one too. I was going to say Shadow Colossus, like all the Colossi. Every single one of them is just, they're unique in their own way and so much fun that you have to figure out how to defeat them. Probably.
But you would put every one of those on your top villain list.
Yes. No,
okay,
if I had to choose one specifically, the electric eel was
I don't think I've seen that one.
Big headache for me. Well, it's in my playthrough of Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay, maybe I did see it then. It's been a while since I've seen this.
It's just anything involving water, really. Like, I hate almost everything involving water. Especially in Shadow of the Colossus, you swim so slow. So, like, fighting that thing was just annoying because you had to wait for it to come at you, and then you had to get out of the way, and then you had to get on its back, and then you got to stab it, but not get electrocuted, and
That is
exhausting.
Right.
But all of them, I mean, no, they're just, each one of them was pretty creative and fun. But that one kind of stands out to be probably the most annoying for me.
Here's my question, though. Are they bosses or are they villains?
Yes.
Who's the evil one?
Well, the evil one's like the gods. I think the gods are the villains in the end of it. If I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I beat it. So I think the gods are the villains. And they turn into, they're technically shadows, like these evil shadows. And they possess you.
Oh.
So it's not a happy story for the hero, but, you know.
No, it doesn't sound very
if
happy.
I remember correctly, the princess comes back alive. And then she has
it depends on
kid?
Because I think there's a way you don't
you become a
get her
kid.
back
So
to
like
life.
you die and then like you're reborn as like this horned child, which kind of looks like the kid from Ico. So I don't know if it's actually connected or not.
They're supposed to be.
It's been
Ico is supposed
so
to come
long.
after.
It's been so long. I vaguely remember. I really should get back to that Let's Play series and just beat the last few bosses so I can remember the story.
You should.
But I would consider them villains. I mean, unless technically the hero, the main guy you're playing, is the villain, because these colossi are just, you know, sleeping, and you're going over there waking them up and killing them.
Well, that's tough then, because then we get into the debate of like, well, what is a villain? You know?
Right. I mean, maybe we should just say antagonists.
I don't know. I still like villain. I like keeping it vague because then you can get some interesting things out of it.
Yeah. Well,
like I have one that I have an interesting one I would coming up. So.
All right, go ahead.
Well, not before I get to that one. I have to throw out one of my other favorite villains is Majora.
Majora's Mask.
From Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
The little cackling, the things that he does throughout the game. He's one of my favorite villains just because of how frustrating and annoying that he is, and just the way he kind of encapsulates himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Kefka.
Who's Kefka?
Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, I don't think
so. While Final Fantasy VII is my favorite, I would say Final Fantasy VI is probably a better narrative, better story.
Okay.
Kefka is... Well, I'm about to spoil this for you, Spence. Spoiler alert.
That's okay.
Kefka wins. So, like, he's like this evil clown-looking dude, and he has a laugh.
He popped up on a lot of evil lists.
Yeah, a lot of people say Final Fantasy VI is probably, like, the best game. And I can agree with that. Like, it's probably better story-wise. I'd like to see them remake that game, honestly. But yeah, he wins. Like, he destroys the world. And
so everybody loses in 6?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a really dark story.
Yeah.
I mean, so like he wins and then you go back and you fight him again, but it's just it's the first concept I think where a villain actually kind of defeats the heroes in video games, because that came out before 7 did, so came out in the mid-90s.
It's 6.
Yeah.
And 7 comes after 6.
How crazy would it be if they made, you know, Final Fantasy 18 and then decide to make 16 after that, though?
It'd be like if they decided to make Star Wars 5, 6, and 7, and then make 1, 2, and then make 4, and then make 3.
Well, I mean, in one aspect they do 4, 5, and 6, and then they did 1, 2, and 3.
Star Wars Episode 7 is the best Star Wars.
Yeah, okay.
So Majora, I would consider on my list. This is a villain that I would. It's not a villain like from my perspective in the game and my character's perspective in the game. Not a villain, but to all of the people that you fight and all of like the bad guys toward like that I would consider bad guys, they would find this character a villain, and it's going to be Tiny Tina from Borderlands.
Oh, okay. See, I thought you would have said something about Handsome Jack.
No, see, he made it on my honorable mention list.
Okay.
Tiny Tina is not actually a villain, but I think she's too amazing of a character not to bring up. I love her so much. If I ever have a daughter, I hope that she's just Tiny Tina.
Wow. It's a heck of a jump there. I don't know. I haven't played Borderlands 2, so I don't know. But I'm looking forward to playing it in that third person mod.
I'm kind of excited to try it out, but I don't know. We'll see.
You know what? I'm gonna laugh though if you end up loving it more in third person.
I'm not going to rule out the possibility of it.
Just because then that means I'm right.
No. All right. Moving along.
I'm just kidding. No, actually, I'm really looking forward to playing it with you and Toll. But I do have experience with Handsome Jack. I may not have played Borderlands 2, but I did play...
You played the Handsome Collection.
No, I played Tales of the Borderlands.
Oh, sorry. That's what I meant.
Is it Tales of the Borderlands? I think it was Tales of the Borderlands, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
I played that, and I actually really love that story. The storyline of that, where Handsome Jack ended up becoming the villain anyway.
I would go with that. I haven't played it yet.
Oh.
You were about to say something, so I just talked over you there.
That's fine. We gotta pause. Do you hear it?
Oh, I hear it. I'm not even going to cut that out, Zio. This whole part that we're talking about right here is going to be
really?
in the podcast.
Oh, great. I'm glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah. I don't really care about the sirens in the background.
Okay.
Zio, do we make enough money that we need to worry about cutting that out?
Yes, Ben, we do. We make the most money in the world. That's why we're going to buy other YouTube channels, remember?
Oh, well, eventually. But
okay.
When I edit the podcast, all I do is I throw it into Premiere Pro, slap it over onto the other monitor, and pull up a game that isn't like mentally intensive. And then I listen to the podcast while I play the game. And if something comes up that I notice, then I cut it out if it needs to be.
Man, if only I could do that with our videos.
Well, you could, but things would be much different.
Yeah, they wouldn't be very good.
So I've got two honorable mentions I'd like to bring up for because you already mentioned one of them, Handsome Jack.
Yeah.
Giovanni from Pokemon Yellow.
Oh, Giovanni. Yeah.
I don't think he's not in the game enough to be a major villain.
That's fair.
But just for the fact that I spent so much time trying to figure out how to get into that gym when I was a kid, he's a villain in my heart.
No, that's fair. I also like when you harken back to the anime. He was pretty hardcore.
Yes, he is.
Man, Giovanni. He's. I remember like in the anime specifically though, like how brutal and how brutal he was. He kind of reminded me of like Lex Luthor for Pokemon. You know, where he's like,
"Oh, okay,
I'm just a guy. I have money and power over everything." And
yes,
that's basically all he was. And Ash was
I think it's a fantastic
I'm a boy
comparison.
with dreams. That's about it.
No, not anymore, Ash.
No, he's still a boy.
Not
even
anymore.
20 years later.
Oh, that's true. I love the theory of in like one of the very first episode when he sees Ho-Ho and he wishes to be on the journey forever or whatever it is. That's his dream. And so that's why all the seasons are still going. Because he's just going to go on an infinite journey.
That's a fun little fan theory.
Oh, you didn't hear about that?
Yeah, no, I didn't hear about that one.
So in the description of Ho-Ho in the game, it's that if he's seen or whatever, if you see the thing from it, he's like known to grant wishes or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I think it is the very first episode, you actually see what's believed to be Ho-Ho flying through the sky.
Yeah.
And then, he wishes to go on a journey forever or something like that. It's not exactly how it goes out, but it's the paraphrased version of it.
That's super cool.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh. Dang it. Have you played Heavy Rain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's a good villain in that one.
Yes.
Another one of those did not see it coming.
I know, the private detective guy. What was his name?
Wow. I don't remember when you find. Oh my god! Spoiler alert.
Ethan was
Too
the
late
dad.
For that, though.
Sean was the son.
Then there was that future cop.
Then you have the future cop,
which I never really understood.
I can't remember his name.
He was a reporter.
Jaden was the future cop. Yeah, the reporter, the girl you played. She was a reporter.
We played as a girl in it?
Yeah. There's 4
characters.
characters. There's the dad.
I thought there were 3 of them.
The dad, the FBI future cop, the reporter, and then the private eye.
I don't remember playing as a reporter.
Yeah.
Oh.
She becomes she can be a love interest for Ethan.
Really?
Unless you killed her super early.
I must have killed her really early.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can really think of.
I don't know. I'm going to look this up right now because I don't remember this.
I'm going to look up his name real quick. Because I want to talk about it.
Is it Madison Page?
Madison, yeah, Madison. Yeah.
Oh, I remember her now. I think she died pretty early.
Scott Summers. I think it was Scott Summers. His name was Scott, right? Scott Shelby. His name was Scott Shelby. So the private detective was Scott Shelby.
Yeah, that's what it was.
He was amazing because that game did such a good job making you love him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he becomes the best character in the game. Like, you support his storyline almost the most, even though he's not like the one being affected by anything.
Yeah.
And at the very end, when they do that twist where he's the bad guy, he is
Spoiler.
the origami killer. That's so good. Such a great twist. It blew me away.
Oh, yeah.
It honestly blew me away. And then I had a hard time, just beating the game because I'm just still like, even though it was just a quick time event stuff, it was just, I'm dumbfounded. I'm thinking, but the narrative's still moving on without me. So I'm like, shit, I need to push a button. It's so good.
It was the first Game of Thrones that wasn't Game of Thrones.
That's true. Kind of was like Game of Thrones. Good point.
I'm sorry, that was really stupid.
No, it's fine. No, I loved that game, and I'd say he's up there. He's one of my favorite villains. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put him on the top list, but he's definitely be one of the higher up honorable mentions. But I do have one last honorable mention that I would like to bring up before the end of the podcast here. Okay. This is a character from Wolfenstein 3D.
I didn't play that one.
Mecha Hitler.
Oh my god.
Mecha Hitler is one of the honorable mentions. And I think
of course, it's Mecha Hitler.
That basically, that sums it up. I don't even have to say anything else.
No, I got to talk about it.
He's not.
Just Mecha Hitler. That's awesome. I really need to, I want to play the new Wolfenstein game. What is it? New Generations, is it?
New Order?
New Order, that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm just guessing.
I want to play it. I heard good things about it. And I just love the idea of that type of game. It just sounds awesome. It's almost like steampunk meets magic.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I've never really gotten super big into them. I'm still waiting for the 13 remake.
13 remake?
It's probably never going to happen. There's a game that came out on PC called 13.
Yeah?
And it was a 3D cel-shaded comic book styled game where you would, like, anything that went on or things that happened, you'd hear like the comic book sound effects, as well as you would see like the bang or the pow kind of pop up on the screen for the different things that were happening. Yeah. If someone was sneaking through or they were like walking over, and you'd see like tap 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 pop up on the screen where the feet were touching. And same with like bullets and stuff like that. It was really cool. And the game was fun. It was a blast. That's a really, really old one.
So how is that in relation to Wolfenstein?
I have no idea. I just
it just made you think about it for some reason.
Yeah, I don't even know what we were talking about that made me think about it.
Okay, all right, interesting. Huh.
Yeah,
villains are fun. To say.
But I believe we have to give basically the give all end all villain in gaming award is going to have to go out to EA for this podcast.
Yes, EA, you are the #1 villain of gaming history.
It doesn't matter what EA does until our generation and the generation below dies out. They're always going to be the villain. Yeah, just because it's
okay. Well, it's
fun to hate them now.
Let's entertain this idea for a second.
Okay.
What do you think EA could do to regain the trust of the gamers?
I don't know. I bet
if you were the president of EA and you could do one thing you wanted, doesn't matter what you wanted to do, but you can do one thing, and that was your goal to try to make EA be trusted by gamers, what would it be?
I don't know. I bet if EA went and bought or shipped, let's say EA ended world hunger, all right? It just decided that's it. Well, I'm just saying, even if EA did that, if they ended world hunger and they shipped out food everywhere and people were like, wow, EA's a great company. Too bad they're still the villains in the gaming industry. Like, it doesn't matter what they do. They're gonna have to come out with a solid 6 or 7 games where they don't, like, in a row, where there's not a single bad thing about them in the news or the media. I think that's what it's gonna take. And not like 6 or 7 little tiny little side games. I'm talking about, like, they're gonna need to come out with a whole nother Mass Effect trilogy quality of games without any hiccups or terrible things going on in the background. Okay. Good luck. Not gonna happen, but I think that's what it would take.
All right. So like a multiple game series.
It doesn't have to be a series, but there's got to be something. I'm gonna give it an exact number of 6 games. They need to come up with 6 AAA titles where not once do we look in the not once see written in the news articles, EA has just bought and fired 3 gaming companies, and they brought 3 companies to merge them together only to make them all work on a game for 3 months and then sell it for money, but kick them all back out of the company. Like, just there's got to be none of that. Okay. I mean, it's not going to happen, but I think that's what they need. Okay. For them to, I think after the 3rd or 4th one, people are going to go, okay, maybe EA's smarting up. They're not the 5th one. They're going to be like, nope, it's going to happen. Next one, they're screwing up. And then when the 6th one comes out, they'll be like, wow, good job, EA. And the world will give a standing ovation. Okay. All right? It's going to take 6 games. 6 games. Okay. With no,
I think it would only take 1 game, honestly. I think if they made 1 perfect game where they didn't have any backlash for it, the developers got to take all the time they needed to make this game, and it was something like Anthem. Anthem built up a lot of hype. So if they made like something similar to Anthem with this open world concept and obviously with the space drama, so let's mix Anthem and Mass Effect together.
Isn't doing very well.
Well, no, but a lot of that was to be rushed in how it was made and things like that.
So is Anthem a great example?
Well, I'm saying with the hype level that Anthem brought.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking like mesh Anthem with Mass Effect. I think if they created a game like that, where you had this open world exploration, but then you had this narrative kind of like Oblivion in the sense of where you can build this whole world in this universe. Mm-hmm. Not only it doesn't have to be perfect, but I think if they released it for free and no extra content for add-ons or money, I think that would fall the whole world into EA's new graces.
Here's what's going to happen if they did that. People are going to look at it and be like, EA didn't do this. They just slapped their name on it.
Right, but they'd have to give the go-ahead. That's what I'm saying. I think it takes 1 game, really.
No, I disagree.
I mean, look at other companies.
Well, think of it this way. Let's say your girlfriend took you out on a whole bunch of dates. All right, you guys had a thing set up where every month she took you out on a date. Let's say for a few years, every date was just, I mean, there were good parts about it, but they were dingy dates. She took you to dumb places. You had to pay half the time. Yeah. Other times you didn't know about the extra stuff that you'd be paying on top of what you already had to pay for it. And then she takes you out for 1 really great date. The best date you've ever been on in your lifetime. You're never going to go on a date as good as that last one. What happens the next month? You're kind of looking forward to it, but at the same time, you're like, is it going to be a good one? Is this the one time? Is this the one thing?
Here is the flaw in that logic, Ben. We're gamers. We're such a weird group of people that we can get abused over and over and over again.
And we keep giving them money.
We'll keep giving them money. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, people hate EA, but guess what? EA Sports. They're going to sell a shit ton of copies every year.
Oh, yeah.
Battlefield. Every Battlefield that comes out is going to sell a shit ton of copies. It doesn't matter how much bad they do. We still come back for more.
Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying we're not going to stop buying their games, because EA could come out with the shittiest game ever, and I'm still probably going to spend money on it. Because I mean, yeah, I still see them as the villain, but it's like, it's a game, I want to play it.
Exactly. You don't view them as a villain enough to step away.
So what I was going from with that is, even though your girlfriend takes you out on that one greatest date, are you going to immediately go like, all right, no longer do I see her as the terrible date girl?
Yeah.
It would take a little while.
I agree.
It would take a few dates.
But I honestly think if EA released the perfect game, everyone would forget.
See, and I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with you and say
fair.
It's gonna take a few games.
You want my best example of that?
Sure, go for it.
Nintendo and the Wii U.
No, this podcast is over.
Span, that was my entire thing. I was just finding a segue into insult Nintendo and the Wii U.
That was good. I'll give you that. That was pretty good. I didn't even see it coming.
Yes, I know.
That's
Every
okay.
podcast,
I really
get you
liked
with that.
I really enjoyed the Wii U, so that's okay.
That's all right. A lot of people really enjoyed Mass Effect Andromeda.
They did. My dad did. I'm enjoying it.
I never played it.
Yeah.
But
cool.
Yeah.